If you love any caramel, toffee, or chocolate flavored candy, you're going to want to stick around for this video. I'm going to show you how to make your own candy using clean ingredients. Stay tuned. Hello, welcome to Nature to Tea, or welcome back. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make these delicious chocolate and matcha candy balls using matcha and cacao powder. So the first batch I made it a little strong. That's why it's a little darker in color. And then the second batch, I made it a little less strong, so it's a little bit lighter. That all has to do with how much cacao powder and matcha powder I use in each batch. Here are the ingredients. You're gonna need some condensed milk, and I prefer the organic one. Also cacao powder, organic, as well as matcha powder, organic, and coconut oil. This candy recipe takes about 20 to 25 minutes to cook. Just make sure you use a non-stick cooking pot or a saucepan. I don't have any smaller pan, so I decided to use this bigger pot because it's the only non-stick pot that I have. So you can either use a saucepan or a small pot, but just try to use a quality cooking pot, a non-toxic one like the one I'm using. You're gonna add about 2 tablespoons of coconut oil in the pot, and then you're gonna use the whole can of condensed milk. Now we're going to cook this for about 20 to 25 minutes. The only task with this is that you have to keep stirring because you don't want it to get stuck on the bottom of the pot. But if you're using a good pot, that shouldn't be the case. However, you just kind of let it sit too long without stirring it. So I would take some breaks, like a minute or two, but you don't want to wait too long before you stir it, because it will either clump up or get stuck on the bottom. So you keep stirring like this, so some work out until everything gets really thick and gooey. See, it's already showing up like that. By the way, you are cooking this on medium low. Now, when you get it to this consistency, this thick, gooey consistency, then it is ready. And by the way, I did add in just a little bit of pink Himalayan salt, and it is optional. Next, we're going to transfer this into a container, a glass container preferably. And you're going to have 2 separate batches. Well, that is if you're making 2 different flavors, as I am in this video. So one of the flavors I'm using is matcha flavor. So this is about 2 tablespoons of matcha. And this is kind of strong because this is the Japanese matcha, and it is authentic matcha. So it is kind of strong. As you can see, the color too is pretty bright. But I was going for that stronger taste, so that's why I added 2 tablespoons of the matcha. However, on the next recipe, which I'm going to briefly show you, I made it a little less potent for both the chocolate and the matcha. So once you add your matcha, and this is about 2 tablespoons of matcha, you're going to mix this in really well. Make sure everything is incorporated. And then I'm going to do the chocolate one. And by the way, I'm just showing you the clips as they relate to each other. But I did leave half of the condensed milk paste in the pot and put it on warm, just so that it stays warm, because you have to move really fast with this. If not, it's going to be a little bit harder to roll into balls. And the longer it sits out, the harder it gets, so you have to just work really quickly. So while it's warm, at least, is when you want to roll it into ball shapes. So same thing here with the cacao powder. I used about tablespoon just because cacao is really potent and kind of bitter. And then also, I used a little less of the condensed milk for the cacao or the chocolate candy. So, same thing, you want to mix this in really well until everything is incorporated. Next, we're going to prepare to shape the candy into round balls. So, I am prepping this plate right here where I'm going to put the round candy balls on. Just coating it with coconut oil. And then you're going to wash your hands super clean. And it's hard to film and be touching things, so I had to wash my hands a million times. But anyway, it's also best to coat your hands with coconut oil and just basically roll the balls as I'm showing you here and place each one separate from each other on the plate. And then same thing with the chocolate balls, and you just keep rolling them until everything is done. When you're done making your candy, you can store it in any BPA free container. However, it is best to leave it outside as long as it doesn't last more than a few days, because if you put it in the fridge it gets really hard because it is like caramel. So the colder it gets, the harder it's gonna get. As long as you don't leave in a very hot place, or at least you have your AC on, it should be okay being left out for a few days. So next, I am gonna briefly show you how I make the lighter version of this. And as you can see, I'm not even measuring, but estimated, I put about a tablespoon of the matcha powder on this batch, and then for the for the cacao powder for the on the chocolate candy, I used a little less than what I used in the beginning. So you just go ahead and mix it just like the first recipe that I showed. And by the way, with these ingredients, you can use as much or as little of the powder as you want. But a note here with cacao powder for the chocolate one, cacao is very potent. It is bitter. It is real chocolate, by the way. So it has that potency of bitterness. So you don't want to make it too bitter unless if you really like the bitter taste of dark chocolate. But just be mindful of how much cacao powder you add. Same thing with the matcha. I do like matcha, and I don't mind having a strong matcha flavor, but matcha does have caffeine, so be mindful of that. And the first batch I added more matcha because I was needing a little more energy for that week that I made it. But anyway, you can definitely control how much chocolate you add, how strong of the chocolate you want, and same thing with the matcha. So once again, you just take small pieces and roll them into ball shapes and put them on a plate just like this. By the way, guys, you can make the balls as big as you want them or as small as you want them. Just be mindful of the size, because if you make them too big, it is very addictive. It tastes so good. Sometimes I end up eating a little more than I should. But just be mindful, the smaller the balls, the better, so that you don't overeat it. But this candy, guys, tastes so good. Even my daughter loved it. And these are clean ingredients. Matcha is great for you for antioxidants as well as other benefits. And so is chocolate, has amazing antioxidant benefits, and they both give you that extra boost of energy. So this is way better than regular candy, whether you're a chocolate lover or if you enjoy matcha or any kind of toffee or caramel type candy. This is like the perfect candy that you would fall in love with. So when I was done, I decided to use this glass jar, and this is BPA free glass jar that I ordered from Amazon, I believe, and just stored it in there. And these candies are so good and so hard to resist. And beside, it is one of those candies that are not bad for you. I mean, the only thing that's not ideal is the condensed milk, but either way, it is not that bad. Just try to get the organic one. Anyway, this wraps it up for this video. Let me know if you're gonna try this recipe. I hope you do because it is so good and addictive. Just don't make it too often. Anyway, I thank you for your time. I hope you have a wonderful day, evening, night, wherever you are, and I hope to catch you on my next video.